What's going on, guys? This is episode 3 of the Minecraft Prison server development series, and as you can see from behind me, we have made quite a bit of development since the last episode. So for this episode, we will be focusing on the plots/cells. And as I mentioned in the previous episode, there are 2 separate avenues which I wanted to explore and different methods that I had in mind. The first was the plot world, and the second was something a bit more unorthodox. But having said that, the plot world didn't end up working out. I didn't even bother testing it out because, to be honest, I thought most servers do plot worlds and that's pretty standard. I wanted to do something a little bit different. And as you can see from my experimentations, I've got something a little different in mind. So my thought process was, instead of having a blank plot world where you can just build up whatever you want, I thought, what I'm going to do is I'm going to enclose the players into a cell. I had a lot of fails and successes whilst I was experimenting with this process, and I just kind of quickly talk through what my thought process was. So the first thing I did was I built a big bedrock box. And then from there, you can see that I created this little contraption. And this was what I thought would be a really nifty idea for the cell. And the idea is that you start out in this area here. So you would spawn in this area like so, and you would be granted with a 5x5 protected region. And you wouldn't be able to go past this area or break any of these blocks. You would be able to purchase an upgrade and increase the size of your cell. And then eventually you could earn this space here. And then from there you could tear down your walls and you'd have a slightly bigger area. So that was my initial thought. You start off in the middle and you work your way out. The plugin I've used to develop this is called Bentobox. But what it really is skyblock. So what I've done is I've created a skyblock island and rebranded it as a cell. So every player gets their own individual island. So the idea is that you spawn them inside a box and it's completely covered in bedrock so that they cannot escape. So once you unlock all your upgrades and your bigger cell, you're still ultimately trapped inside the box. And that would give players an inclination to rank up to a free rank, for which they would unlock a open world and they could do whatever they want, because, you know, even if you unlock all of these cells, you're still trapped in a box ultimately. So now you can develop your islands for skyblock through Minecraft, through the server. Like, you don't even need to go into the server files or do anything like that. It's really simple to use, and I'll show you a bit of it as well. And if you've ever played skyblock, you'll know that any island requires a piece of bedrock on the bottom, and that bottom is the origin point. So it was my understanding that when I created this island, the protected region would start off in the center, and if I gave you a 5x5 area, you would have this 5x5 area. But skyblock does this weird thing where it doesn't actually start off in the center. Even if I set that as the origin point, it does not start off in the center. It starts off in the bottom right. So when I give myself a 5x5 protected region, it only gives me this area, and that doesn't work for me. So my next idea was, I'm not going to do it like that, I'm going to do it like this. So you start off in this 5x5 region, and then you unlock more and you get this next corner, and then you unlock more and then you get this next corner, and so on and so forth. So real quick, we will create a skyblock island. I'll show you how to do it, a really easy tutorial, and then I'll show you the problems I faced. So what I've done here, using the theory of the bottom right corner, is I've created a square, as you can see, and then I've put the bedrock right here so that its corner here is in the very center, and then I've created a border around it. We also need to have a spawn here sign, and that is just where players will spawn when they first start. You can also do another sign, like so. It's called start, and that'll be like a welcome message for when you start. So the command you want to do is /bsb blueprint pos1, and then you want to go down here and make sure all your blocks are in range and do pos2. And now you can see that this really cool redstone box has been created around your area or your blueprint, and you want to make sure that it's all there. So the next thing you do is you copy, and that'll save, and then you go /save, and we'll call it test 4. There you can see there's a success. The next thing you want to do is go Esb Blueprint. That's the core command, and you can see here I've already created 3 tests. So we go new bundle, we'll call it test 4, and there we go, we got test 4 there, which we've just created. You click on that, you hover and you find your blueprint that you just created called test 4. Click that, pop it on the green, so now it's there. Go back, exit the menu, and then we do the island command. We go island reset or island new. I've already got an island, so I have to reset it, but if you were just starting, you could do /is. But basically you go is reset, you have to confirm it, and now we can pick one of the islands. We got the standards, and then we got the 4 I've built. We do test 4, and now you can see that I've spawned here. We've got a nice little welcome message. We'll go into game mode 1, and that is our cell, or that is our island. You can see here that, you know, we're protected. The default radius is 7 by 7, I believe. That's what I've coded it to. But what we can do is we can go BSB range display, and now we can see the protected area of our skyblock island. So you can see that if we go up, that's the very center, the bottom right of the blue wool. Now the problem I have with this idea is that obviously I want the player to be encased in a cell. I don't want them to be able to escape. So ultimately I want the entire thing to be built out of bedrock, not just the very center. So if we go back here, I'll show you the second one I built. So my thought process here was I'll take the exact same island here, I'll copy it, and then I will add on another layer of bedrock here. And you can see under here we have our 4x4 square, and on top of it we have this whole layer of bedrock, because theoretically it should be the bottom bedrock that sets the dimensions, right? So let me show you what that world looks like. So this is the new island. It has bedrock all on the top layer and then 4 bedrock things on the bottom. But then as you can see by this barrier, it's still selecting by the very bottom right corner, as you can see there. So now you can see that it chooses the bottom right bedrock no matter what height the bedrock is. So there's our problem. We cannot create a full box out of bedrock. Or can we? And that brings me back to this idea here. This idea where you start off in the corner and you unlock another region and then you unlock another region. And now this idea will work. And I'll show you how. So this is our idea where it'll select the bottom right block here, and then we'll create a square off of that, and then another square off of that, and then another square off of that. So as you do, you start off in this cell, you unlock the next one, and then you get that area, and then you unlock the next one. So as you can see here, you spawn in this cell here, and we have the default protection range for which you are trapped in this area. So if I was a de-opt player, and I'm still in creative mode, I cannot break out of here because I am locked here. Now, based on what we know, you could theoretically break out of here, but because it's bedrock, you cannot. So a default player won't be able to get out of this box, hopefully. And the top here will also be covered with bedrock, but I just have it open so you can see. So default player is trapped in this box. So this is the island that we're going to be working with, and I'm really happy with this idea. I think it's quite unique, and this is the dimensions that we have. Now this area here is unlocked, but then again a player cannot access it. They are still trapped within the confinements of this cell. Now this is where the really cool part comes in. How do you unlock a bigger area? And I've developed this, I've created this, and I'm really proud of this. So we have a /cell command. But what I need to do first is I need to de-alt myself so that I'm able to show you. I'm going to show you what the cell upgrades look like from on top, just so that you can see the barriers as well. Now I'm currently de-opt, as you can see, but I still have my barrier display on, I still have creative mode on, so it's all good. So you need to be de-opt for this command to work. So this is /cell. So what we have here is the default 5x5. We already have this unlocked, so that doesn't serve any function. We also have this one here. This is the 11x11 option, unlock the adjacent cell and the corridor, and that costs $1 million. You can see that that's blue. The next one is red. This is 18x18, but this is locked. So what you need to do is you need to purchase this before you purchase that. So that's what we'll do. We'll purchase this for $1 million. We click it, and now you can see that $1 million has been removed from our account. We have an 11x11 block area, and you can see there that the barrier has expanded. So now the barrier follows this line here, this cell here, and if you were a player inside of this cell, you could break down these walls, and now you'd have an even bigger area. So now let's take a look at /cell again, and you can see that, boom, this is green because it's been purchased and the text has been changed, and this red has changed to blue, and we can purchase that for $10 million. And this one here is still locked. So let's purchase this for 10 mil. Boom, and now you can see that the barrier has increased yet again. So let's take a look at /cell, and now that's green here, and then we need to purchase this for $100 million, and that would be the final cell size maybe, or maybe it'd be even bigger, I'm not sure. But basically we've got the default, the corridor, more cells, and the prison block. And then you purchase that for 100 mil, and now you have an even bigger size. So now you have the entire box unlocked. But you still have all this area here, but again the player is trapped inside this bedrock block and they cannot get out. So all this space here you don't have to worry about. If we take a look at /cell, see that all of these 4 things have been unlocked. So this is where another thought of mine cropped up. You can see here that this area here is all unlocked. So what I thought was, when you unlock the final area here, there might be a certain gap for which players are able to escape and get outside of their cell, and then they have access to this entire area. But I feel like this area might be just a little bit too large. So yeah, that is where the default box would be. And then players would be able to escape, and then they'd have access to this whole entire island. But then it kind of becomes its own skyblock island because it'd just be void everywhere. And then it's not really the same idea. You're not really trapped in a cell. And I also think, yeah, that this island is way too big. So yeah, that's my development for the cells. Now I'm going to show you how I created this /cell command, because I'm actually really proud of this, and hopefully you guys will enjoy and maybe learn something. So this is the Deluxemenus config file, which I'm sure you're all familiar with, and this is the cell command that I have created. So on the Minecraft screen you can see I have de-opt myself, and now all of these options are re-available. So on Notepad, let's start at the top. We have the default item. We've set our material to wool, and then the color green for it being unlocked. And it says here your cell size is 5x5. Then you can see for the 12 option, the 12x12 area, or the 11x11, more so, we have 2 separate things. So we have 12 current and 12 unlocked, and they're both in the same slot. So this one here has a priority of 1, and this has a priority of 2. So basically, if you buy this, you don't want this option to still be here in case a player accidentally repurchases it. What you want to do is you want to make it green. You want to say unlock so a player doesn't, again, repurchase it. So in its blue state, you can see here the information. A player requires over $1 million in their balance in order to be able to click the button. If they don't have the money, it'll say you do not have enough money. Then we run 4 commands. Now these commands take $1 million out of their account, set their range to 12, and add this permission here. Now this permission doesn't serve for any plugin, I've just created it as an example. So what we do is we click on this and then it gives the player the permission cell.12. And that is how we view this option here. So this is the current state as it is. It's the color 3 means that it is blue. And the color 5 means that it's green. So when we click on it, it'll run all 4 of these commands. And let's do that now. So you can see that $1 million has been taken from your account. That's the echo command. The player has been messaged that. So it's 11 by 11 blocks. And then behind the scenes, because I'm deopt, you can't see, but I've been given permission cell.12. And again, my range has changed. Now, because I have the permission cell.12, I can actually access, or I can see this option here. Now, because this option here has a higher priority, this option here is no longer visible. So if we go /cell again, you can see that it's changed to green. So this is how I developed the second option, by having 2 separate ones. Now, the issue with that is, say for Prism block now, there's a red option, a blue option, and a green option. Now, I have the red option because I need to unlock this blue one first. So let's take a look at the Prism block, for example. So you can see here we have 24 locked, which is what it is now. It's red, and that has a priority of 3. We have a 24 current, which is when it would be blue, like that, and that has a priority of 2. And then we have a 24 unlocked, which is when it's green, and that has a priority of 1. And there are 2 separate viewing requirements for both of these. So in its natural state, this would be locked. So no permissions are required for that. But then in its current state, you would need to have cell.18 or the previous unlocked. So when you unlock cell.18, you get the permission cell.18. And then the 24 current becomes visible because we have the cell.18 permission. And just like before, you need to have, $100 million, and then it runs all the same commands. And also with this, when you run all these commands, you get the permission cell.24, so that the 24 unlocked now becomes visible. It's all quite complicated to explain, but if you just have it all visible right here, it should make sense, really. So you can see here, this is locked. So how do we unlock this? Well, that's not going to tell us anything. We need to get this. So this would be the next option. And in order to view this, we require cell.18. We require this permission. But how do we get this permission? Well, let's take a look at cell.18. So we're in this state here, because we've unlocked the previous one. So this should be current. And you can see that when you purchase it, you get the permission cell.18. So this will increase the area, and then that's unlocked. So when we purchase that, the player receives the cell.18 permission, and now this larger option becomes available because we have cell.18 permission. So now we can see this, and this is now blue, as you can tell. And then there's a final stage for which it becomes unlocked. So when you run this command, i.e. when you purchase the $100 million option, it'll take the money out of your account, it'll increase your range, and it'll give you a new permission, cell.24. And that is the viewing requirements for the next stage. So now what we're going to do is we're going to purchase this $100 million option, and it's going to give us this cell.24 permission. So we run that. So we've done that, and now we have the cell.24 permission. And if we do /cell again, it's green. So really the core unlocking works with the permissions. You unlock an option, you get a permission, and with that permission you can view the next thing. And that kind of just works its way. Cool, so now I have built the prison cell and I am inside it, and it is only 4 blocks high, so it's not really too detailed, but that's not really the point. It is just kind of your protected area. What I'm going to do is I'm going to de-op myself. And then you can see that if I do /cell, I have none of the options unlocked. So I am de-opt and I am in my cell. And you can see here that I cannot break my way out. I can only break, the blocks that are inside this area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go /cell, and then I can rank up. Boom, now I've unlocked the next area. But again, I cannot break out. So if you were a default player, you could, break all these walls, and then you could get a whole bunch of chests down, and you'd have an even bigger area, or whatever you want to do with the area, obviously. So, now I have an even bigger area to work with. We do /cell again, buy the next one, and now we can tear down these walls. And again, we can expand the area. I've kind of done like a little bit of a storyline as well, just with all the cells. So we got a cell here and we got a cell here. And obviously there's a little hole in this cell. So obviously this prisoner here on the right has killed the one on the left. So if you look in the chest here, you see there's a sword and it has a cool enchant. It's got execute 1, which you can take off with the enchanted dude. And then in this barrel here, we have a cool Rage 1 chest as well. So, I'm going to put little things in all the chests. But yeah, we've ranked up, and now you can destroy this area and you can expand your cell. So all this area here is now unlocked, but not this one here. So yeah, so now we have all this space here, which is really nice. And then we can do /cell again, and we buy the last block, and then finally we can break out of here. Now we have the entire cell block to ourselves. And I think, it's pretty simple. It's only 4 blocks high, and we are ultimately trapped inside this bedrock. There is no way to get out, but, it's more than enough space to, plop down a whole bunch of chests and do what you want to do. I mean, ultimately it is just storage. It's, has no other function than that. It's a storage system, and if your players want to set up shops or do other things like that, there will be the option to do so. There will be the ability for players to set warps or set spawn shops. But yeah, this is the entire area that I have just unlocked for $115 million or whatever it is, and it's quite a spacious area. And that is the plugin that I have developed for the skyblock cells for my prison server. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed this unique concept, and hopefully you learned something from it. And yeah, look, I'm really happy with the development that I've made here, and yeah, I think it's pretty dope and pretty unique, and that's why I think this server is going to be awesome.